Which relationship would you choose? Would you choose the green one that is more stable or the blue one that has more mood swings? The blue one has higher highs but also has higher lows, while the green one is just more stable. So, and on the y-axis you have satisfaction, and on the x-axis you have time. So pause the video here and take a minute maybe to think about which relationship you would choose. If you're new here, my name is Olivier and I'm a certified math and physics teacher in Ontario who is currently doing a master's in statistics at Carleton University. Okay, so we could model these relationships using trigonometric functions. Keep in mind I'm a math teacher and I love Desmos, so here I'll put all the links in the description below. There should be timestamps as well. And this is two sine curves, right? So the first sine curve has, the blue sine curve has a higher amplitude. So it'll be an amplitude of 1 instead of 0.2. So that just means that the baseline is at 7, you go up to 8. So that is your amplitude of 1. Then your baseline of 0.2 means you start at 7 and you end up at 7.2. And then if your lowest point would be 7 and then 6.8, right? The period is 2 pi, that's just 360 degrees. It's the time it takes for a full cycle. The baseline is 7 for both. We could move the baselines if you want. Desmos is really nice for that. And again, the y-axis is life satisfaction. So how satisfied you would think you think you would be with a specific relationship. And just one last note is that this video, I said it's about relationships. I'm covering a blog article that I wrote, but it could be about anything. It could be about 2 jobs. It could be about having kids. It could be about any type of options you could decide. It's about how much variability, how much risk, investments, like all those things do you want, or a variability versus stability. That's really what this video is about. And the choice of y-axis might change depending on you. I try to optimize for satisfaction instead of happiness, because happiness, for example, having kids is not like, can be pretty painful and lead to a lot of suffering. It's not pleasant day to day often. That's what I hear. I don't have kids currently, but it can be very meaningful and satisfying. So I think optimizing for those things might lead to happiness as a side effect. There's 2 types of happiness, generally speaking. There's eudaimonia, the meaning side, the life satisfaction, how you would rate your life on a scale of 1 to 10. And then there's the hedonia, which is like more pleasure, like petting a soft bunny or talking to friends might be very pleasant. But your y-axis might change, and it changes the result of which relationship you would choose. So just keep that in mind. My hunch is that most people would pick the green one. And again, let me know in the comments below if that's what you would choose. And this would be the case even though the blue relationship, if we look at the graph, this moves here, even when the blue relationship is all the way higher. So for example, here the blue relationship is above the green relationship at all times, but still the variability affects your psychology, right? Like if it's a roller coaster, you might, even though at all points in the relationship you're more satisfied, it still takes a toll on you. So obviously there's going to be an extreme point, a tipping point where you're probably going to choose the blue relationship. But some people don't do well with a lot of variability. So obviously it's person dependent. Some people will, even at the first picture here, will pick the blue relationship just because there's some higher highs, although there's higher lows. Like they want to experience the higher highs and they don't really care about the cost of higher lows. So it's an interesting thought experiment. And note that in this picture, the average satisfaction, so if you took the height of both curves and divided by the number of intervals, they would be the same. They average out to the baseline of 7. However, here the baseline would be 9 at its highest point. So you have a higher satisfaction at all points. And still, some people might prefer the green one. This concept of life satisfaction when you have higher highs and lower lows reminds me of something I read in Atomic Habits, written by James Clear. The quote goes like, Sometimes success is less about making good habits easy and more about making bad habits hard. And I think that's exactly right for me. It's really hard once you're at a healthy baseline to move up significantly. You could meditate, exercise, all those things, and you do notice a significant difference, but it's not like a night and day shift. It's really rare once you're at that healthy baseline. To be clear, I'm not making the extreme case that happiness is just about not having bad things in your life. In fact, the PERMA model proposed by Martin Seligman, PERMA, suggests that you need a mix of things to experience happiness and life satisfaction. The P stands for engagement, so that would be things like flow. Relationships, obviously, I think there's a Harvard study that says your social relationships are the best predictor of life satisfaction and longevity. And meaning, obviously, that's connected, so that might be your career, your kids, and whatever it is, your volunteering, your faith, and then accomplishment. So again, career, all those things. And I think it's Daniel Pink in his book Drive talks about accomplishment and mastery being one of them. And of course, it's not an either or thing. It's not like you need to get rid of all the bad things in your life before you can be happy, or you need to be happy so that all the bad things become irrelevant. You can work on both of them at once. But what I found from my personal experience it's much easier to take care and design and work with your environment to limit and put the odds in your favor to limit the bad things and the detrimental things. Because it's hard to optimize, but it's easier to eliminate the things that are obviously bad in your life. So that's just been one observation. And another observation that is with the relationship is it'll depend on the frequency, the period of the sine curve. So for everyone has a different threshold, and knowing this threshold is a good fertile ground for your own personal development. There's a philosopher somewhere sometime that said that life is like a pendulum swinging between boredom and struggle and chaos. And I thought that was exactly right for me. When things are too easy, too stable, that's not good. I just become bored and I don't want to do this thing anymore. And then when things are too hard and too much of a roller coaster, you become anxious, and that's not good either. You might quit or become sick, burn out, all those things. So life is about knowing who you are, and with that specific thing, because it'll depend on the thing and your skill level. But in between is the zone of flow where you can reach maximal engagement and learn the most, the zone of proximal development and all that jazz that I've talked a lot about on this channel and on my blog. Lastly, I wanted to leave you with an exercise. So just pull up the last month calendar, list all the unpleasant things, and try to think of what you do each day that you dread and don't like doing. And if you apply the 80-20 rule to that, you could ask yourself, what are the 20% of things that I do that lead to 80% of the pain I experience in my life? So eliminating and designing against those can be very helpful. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to check out the other videos appearing on the screen. Pick some that are made for your interest. And if you want to support the channel, you can do all the YouTube things. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, but really it's to share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time with Do the Work.